Hey everyone, this is Eric Keller for Zbrush Jewelry Workshop. Someone has asked me to do a very specific design for a pair of rings to celebrate their second wedding anniversary. So this is going to be one-off. It's a custom thing. I'm not going to be mass producing this. It's just for them. And what's really cool about the design is it incorporates their interests. So she, and her name is Peggy Wolven, and she is a big fan of arthropods just like me. And in fact, one of her favorite arthropods is a Tailless Whipscorpion, which is also one of mine. It's also known as an Amblypygid, which is a fun thing to say. So let's check out her YouTube channel real quick. So yes, this is going to be a YouTube video of a YouTube video. It's very meta. But she has a lot of videos of the Amblypygids that she raises as pets. And she's not alone in this hobby. A lot of people like to raise these critters. They look terrifying. I mean, that thing is like the stuff of nightmares. What I like about them so much is, first of all, they don't look like spiders or insects. They're just completely just out of left field. They look terrifying, but they're actually very docile and very gentle, unless, of course, you're a cricket. If you're a cricket, then it's a different story, as you can see right here. So, but to people, they're completely and utterly harmless, and that's kind of what I like about them. They have a certain amount of charm. A few years ago, I went to the Los Angeles Natural History Museum Bug Fair, and they had some folks there that breed these little guys and gals, as pets. And so they let me hold one in my hand and have it crawl around. And it was very gentle. It was very nice. It just looks scary, but it's not actually that scary. So I guess that contrast is something that appeals to me a lot. So Peggy and I also have another friend named Gil Weizen. He's an entomologist and a photographer, just like his website says. He's also a big fan of Amblypygids or Amblypygi. And he actually, what he does is he raises them, both Peggy and Gil do this. They raise them and then they take the molts and they actually mount the molts in frames and sell them. And I have one on my wall and I use it for reference, and I've had it for a few years. I think it's really cool. So here's a lot of great pictures on Gil's website, so check that out. So I guess at this point, it's probably too late to warn you that this video series is going to have lots of close-ups of really, really freaky-looking arachnid. If that makes you squeamish, then you're probably not going to enjoy this video very much. But if you're like me and you think these things are cool, hopefully you'll enjoy it. And it'll also inspire you for your own fantastically weird jewelry designs, or even pick up some interesting, hopefully some interesting ZBrush tips. So being a ZBrush artist who really likes arthropods and Amblypygi, of course I had to model one of my own. So a few years ago, I did just that. So here is the ZBrush model that I made a few years ago. And I tried to make it as anatomically correct as I could and as detailed as I could. So you can zoom in here, you can kind of see, got all the little bumpities and the spikes, and everything is authentic to the actual organism as I possibly could get it. And you know, part of this meant I got one of a molt from Gil, framed molt, and I took a lot of pictures, macro shots of various parts, so you could really understand the detail. I actually found a couple books on this, although they're really obscure. And you know, just basically learned as much as I could about the organism in the process of making this. And if you're curious, I actually made a series of videos, but it's on another YouTube channel. So I'm going to take a moment here for a little bit more self-promotion, so please forgive me. This is another project that I started a few years ago called Entomology Animated, and the whole idea of this is that I create animations that explain various aspects of insect and arachnid physiology. So I'm working on a lot of stuff about insect vision and that kind of thing. On the website, I have a section called Art Tutorials. And on this page, I have some videos, and you can see I have several videos that show how I went through the process of sculpting this Tailless Whipscorpion. So it's got 7 chapters. And then for fun, a few years ago for Halloween, I actually rigged and animated several of these crawling on a little carved pumpkin for Halloween. So, because I like, and at the very end, I actually have them talking to you. So you can check that out. It's on Entomology Animated. I have an Entomology Animated YouTube channel. So like and subscribe that one too. What the hell? Why not? Right? What else are we doing? So with all that in mind, let's take a look at a sketch that I asked Peggy to do. I just asked her to do something really simple, doesn't need to be a work of art, but just something to give me an idea of what she has in mind. And so if we take a look at this, these are the pedipalp right here of the Tailless Whipscorpion. So and this is a picture that Peggy took and sent me. So these are the pedipalps right here, and they're going to be on the front or the top of the ring. And I'm guessing this could be like the chelicerae of these wonderful little fangs that, you know, uses to paralyze its prey. So just think of it as a nice big hug with a little spiky smooch in the middle. So this is the chelicerae, I'm guessing, could be. And then to incorporate her husband's interest, we're going to be having 4 moons of Jupiter. So wild design, she has them sort of on the back here of the ring, or the bottom of the ring. So I'm thinking we're gonna have to play with this a little bit. I think it could work because I've done a ring similar to this, a couple rings similar to this recently. So earlier this year, I did this praying mantis ring, which shows some of the solutions I came up with, because I really want to make sure that I have those front legs, those iconic front legs of the praying mantis, on the ring, on the sides of the ring, and I also wanted its adorable face and triangular head, and kind of exaggerated the eyes here, and I drew on little pseudo pupils, because you know how praying mantises always look like they're looking at you because of the pseudo pupil. So I want to have that on there. So I think this worked pretty well, and then, you know, I actually cast it in sterling silver. Let's see if this will actually get in focus. I don't know, but I have some pictures of it too. But it came out really well. In spite of all the detail, I think it was very comfortable to wear. So here's a video turntable of the actual cast ring. You can see it came out really well. I like it. I think the detail looks nice. Some semi-blurry pictures, close-ups. Okay, that picture is better. But yeah, I mean, it reads as a praying mantis almost immediately. The tricky part of doing the Amblypygid is it's a much more alien organism. Not as many people know about these animals as they know about praying mantises, or most people haven't come in contact with one of these, where a lot of people run into a praying mantis in the garden. So that puts us at a little disadvantage. But since this is a custom ring for someone who is an enthusiast of this animal, I really only had to make sure that she can immediately read it as an Amblypygid, and that she's happy with that it looks like what she is familiar with. So that's going to work in our favor. So the other part of this design is the 4 Galilean moons of Jupiter. So this should be really interesting. And so doing a web search, image search on Google, you can see here the Galilean moons. So we're talking about Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. So they're spheres, right? How do we distinguish these in the actual ring design, especially because they're going to be really small? So that's going to be an interesting challenge. Stylistically, there are some obvious differences though that I think we can sort of talk about. We have sort of swirls in the spots, we have a lot of scratchies and swirls, we have big craters on this one, more smaller craters in this one, so kinds of things that we might be able to sculpt into the texture to distinguish the 4 moons. And then in terms of their placement, she has it in her design on the back of the ring, or the bottom of the ring. But I'm also thinking, since these pedipalps are so good at sort of cradling something, you could almost think of maybe it's cradling the 4 moons in its pedipalps or something, sinking its venomous fangs into the 4 moons of Jupiter. I don't know. There's something there, something worth playing with. So that's the basic project and the challenge. But I do, of course, want to remind everyone that if you are curious about learning how to create jewelry with ZBrush, check out our website, ZBrush Jewelry Workshop, ZBrushJewelryWorkshop.com. It is actually a community, so becoming a member of our community, we have all kinds of tutorials and courses that are much more detailed about the process of sculpting in ZBrush and making jewelry, and they're designed for people of all skill levels. So if you never touched ZBrush in your entire life, we have an entire fundamentals section that gives you a jewelry-centric view into the fundamentals of working with ZBrush. And then, of course, we also have videos on rendering and imaging, We have our community through Discord. We have student resources and downloads for our members, as well as a number of resources. So check out ZBrush Jewelry Workshop. We have a little video that talks about what membership is all about and more interesting stuff about the organization. So, and then of course, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates and more information on ZBrush Jewelry Workshop and this project. Thanks for watching.